Hi, I'm ZGALA, the Art Angel. You can call me Auntie Angel. And this is the section of the day where I talk about 3 people who've inspired me in the last 24 hours. A segment that I'm trying to rev up and hope that maybe you'll join me in, because I think the more we reflect on what inspires us and why, the more inspired and inspiring we can all become. So the 3 people that just came to mind when I did that self-reflection, one I was just listening to on YouTube, that's Brian Johnson, and another is my roommate's little brother, Isaac, and another is an online friend of mine who I've met only once in person named Ruby. So let's go through 3 things that have inspired me about each of them. I'm just doing this off the cuff. I did not think it through beforehand, so let's see how it goes. Ruby, I just heard from today, and I was just thinking about her recently because she stopped by like probably this time last year already to see my mega sculptures. That's the Head Hutt, by the way. You can find a book about that on Amazon. And she inspires me by being a wonderful mother to her. I believe she has 4 children. At least one of them, maybe 2 of them, is autistic, and that creates its own set of special problems and, or I shouldn't say problems, challenges. And opportunities, to be fair. But she does an amazing job of being a mother to them, and they're getting ready to go on yet another trip. They go on trips a lot of times in the summer, and so her mothering skills are one way that she's inspiring to me. There's a mosquito in here trying to get me. Another way that she's inspiring to me is by her being a good friend. Even though I only met her in person once, she has gone out of her way to be extra friendly toward me. She's bought some of my products. She's kept in touch, asked me how it's going now and then, sent me a copy of Brene Brown's book, The Atlas of the Heart, in hard copy because she knew I was into that book, and just in general demonstrating what it looks like to be a good friend. And I really do find that inspiring. I think in my life that has waxed and waned, I can say, and has been a point of struggle or of challenge or of opportunity for me. So I really appreciate her modeling of what a good friend looks like. And today, when she contacted me, it was because she was trying to get information for another friend of hers about a job that I do, and yet again demonstrating what it's like to be a good friend. And in that conversation, she mentioned that she is a programmer, and so that's the 3rd way that she's inspiring to me, is that she's super smart. And even though she's not using those programming skills directly right now, she was inquiring about potentially getting on board with this job that I do, which she will get paid more for because she has these great programming skills. So there you have it, 3 ways that Ruby inspired me just today, really, yesterday and today. All today, I think. Anyway, let's move on. Ruby inspires me in 3 ways. Isaac, my roommate's little brother, has inspired me over the years a number of times, but in the last day or so, he inspired me because he stopped by to drop off some car keys. His brother who lives here is going to help him sell his car, and he wanted to show off, again, my mega sculptures back here, so he brought a friend with him and really inspired me by his outgoingness, which is something that's inspired me before. But he's his inclination to bring somebody else over to see my sculptures and to ask me if I would show them off, I really appreciate that, and I find it inspiring. He's, as I have come to know him over the years, I know that he is that kind of outgoing personality. So that's just one example, but that's definitely a way that he inspires me. Another way is that he is, I think, 3 or 4 months into sobriety these days. The friend he brought over was from AA, and he was a real party animal. We used to party together, and I was a real party animal too. But it's nice to see a person as young as he is. I believe he's still in maybe his 20s even, getting his shit together, so to speak, and coming to terms with the fact that he wants a better life for himself, and so doing the necessary work to make that transition, which, if you've ever done such a thing, you know, is not that easy. So it's much easier especially when you're young. I waited till my body was like, yo, you're not gonna live if you don't change your ways. But so I'm inspired by him changing his ways sooner on, reflecting, seeing, probably taking example from older people in his life, and doing that hard work to reframe his life to create a better life for himself. I find that very inspiring. And last but not least, third way that Issac inspires me, like I mentioned, I didn't think these through beforehand, and I already mentioned his outgoingness. I kind of want to split that into 2 pieces upon reflecting, and say one side of that outgoingness is a friendliness. As I mentioned, he brought a friend over. He's always been friendly to me. And another side of that, which inspires me, is courage, which is something I just am sort of enamored with. I find it very inspiring. And he has a level of courage. Of course, these are all interrelated, but the courage to bring a new person over, to ask me to show off my mega sculptures, and to get sober, all of that together, along with other ways that he shows courage. So Issac inspires me with his outgoingness, which I'm going to split into friendliness and courage, and his willingness to do the hard things and reframe, restart, reinvigorate his life with sobriety at a younger age than I and many people I know have gotten around to it. And last but certainly not least, Brian Johnson, who I've never met in person. Perhaps I'll get to interview him one day. I wouldn't mind that. But I was just watching about a 30-minute video where he was showing a bunch of pictures of himself throughout his life. And the video was a response to him showing some before and after pictures of his journey. He, I can't think of the name of his business, which is my bad. But if you look him up, you'll see he's pretty famous these days, and his catchphrase right now is "Don't die," and he's made himself like a human guinea pig, so to speak, to try out a bunch of new technology, to try to hone in on ways to lengthen our lifespan collectively as human beings. And so in his video, which was a response to him feeling criticized for his looks now versus then, he showed a whole bunch more pictures in this video of himself over the years, and really just opened up in a very authentic way, a very sort of vulnerable and unapologetic way, which I admire, and shared his personal journey, how he's come to this point in that journey. And I find that very inspiring, because some people might respond to that type of criticism with shyness or with pulling back, but instead he pushed forward, kind of leaned into it, and I really find that inspiring. I also find inspiring his endeavors to lengthen human life, even though I don't fully agree with his premise that we should aspire not to die. I do agree with the idea that we are shifting as a race, that with the invention of what we're currently calling AI, or artificial intelligence, on the precipice of super intelligence, or maybe already into it. I think it is great to have people like him out on the forefront trying out things and trying to propagate ideas that might help us live more healthy, more healthful lives. So I admire his work. I admire his willingness to lean into his own vulnerability. And I admire his relationship with his children, which is something he mentions several times. And actually, it's more than that. It's the generational relationship that he has between him and his father and him and his sons. And when he talks about both of those aspects, several of the pictures involved his sons and several of them involved his father. And when you hear him talk about those relationships, it's very inspiring because he clearly cares a lot and he does the work to cultivate those relationships and to make them more vibrant and alive and active. And I find that inspiring. There you have it. 3 people, 3 ways that those 3 people have inspired me in the last 24 hours. I would love it if you want to share who or what is inspiring you today and why. Because again, like I mentioned, I think if we cultivate this habit, we're bound to both be more inspired and become more inspiring as we reflect on what inspires you. So if you care to share, I'd love it if you do that in the comments. As always, I'd love it if you like and subscribe. It does help me out a lot. And I thank you for being you. I thank you for letting me be me. I hope you will stay curious and courageous and hopefully get more fit so you can be more free. Till next time, peace.